All right, tonight, this is the Southwest Florida TechNet. My name is Ian, KO4EFS, and we'll be joined shortly with my co-host, Joseph, KM4OVZ, who may have overdosed on sweet and sour Pringles. I'm not sure, but we're going to find out here in just a few minutes. Let's see here. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Shack. I have been going through a Shack remodel now for about 30 days. And I've kind of worked you guys through it each step of the way. Tonight, I've got everything I need to finish. And I'm going to be working over the weekend to finish this side of the room. My Broadcastify feeds will be down over the weekend. There'll be a notice up there that I'm remodeling or whatever. So you guys will be able to see that. If you go there, it'll remind you that it's down. But I just tonight we're going to go through a lot of the different things I learned in this process. The different things that I bought, the things that are working out, the things that aren't working out, and see if there's something I can pass along that might help you along. Joseph has also built and torn down his shack like 5 times now. And he keeps reimagining what he's putting together there too. So he'll be in just a few minutes, and we'll talk to him about that as well. I see we got Rick, we got Grumpy Ham in. There's a number of you guys. I'm just kidding, kind of. And we got Chris is in, and let's see who else. Yeah, hey, let's see. There's others. I can't see them. I'm in this mode where I can't see the people who are not. Let's see who else we got here. I'll go away. I guess that's about it, Rick. And yeah, and I'm in here twice because I have my laptop over here as my system monitor, so I can make sure that I'm going out and coming back okay. All right, I'm sure we'll have more joining us here in just a little while. I'm expecting 3 or 4 others, and I know are going to be here, so we'll just give them a few minutes to get here. Over the last week, I've been working a lot on my system, and I got to tell you guys, I'm loving it. I'm having a great time with it. And now that has motivated me to finish my shack up now that I've got that going well. And I've got it all hooked up to all these different screens that you see. The main computer is, if you guys are looking in the bottom left here, I'll show you. We'll go to this screen here. Now, my room is a mess right now, so excuse the mess, but you can see that screen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the main computer. And then 8, 9, 10 are on the FT8 computer, which is a standalone computer up here. It's an old Dell workstation. It works really, really well. It was overbuilt when it was built 10 years ago, and it's a really good workstation. It's running Windows 10 Pro, and I run FT8 and Grid Tracker on it, and I use all 3 screens on that to track those 2 programs. And then I've got a spot here for my laptop if I want to bring it out here with me. And then over to the right, you really can't see it in this view. I'll switch it over. Over here to the right, you can see I've got my ICOM 756 Pro 2, and then above that I've got my Kenwood receiver, and above that I've got my tuner, and the tuner is hooked up to whichever radio I'm needing it for. I have some bands I can get on without it, and some I can't. Over here on this is the radio tree. I've got a small little multi-band UHF VHF up here. That's my little what is that? I forget what it is. A little thing, a little Chinese radio. And then I got 2 Yaesus that are the M2500s. They're like an old mil-spec type ham radio that were made like something that was in the military. It's actually pretty cool. It's a neat radio. I ended up with 2 of them, and they both work. I'm using one to receive APRS, and I'm using the other one to just listen to repeaters and talk on repeaters. And then I got my Signal Link there as well, and the Signal Link is hooked up to the middle radio here, which is the FT100, which does all of my digital communication. It actually has the heavy load. And you can see up here from the air conditioner, I have the tubing that comes down, And that tubing comes down and it can either be routed into my computer, which it is right now because I'm not using FT8 tonight. That's why my CPU is only at 125 degrees and I'm running a whole show on it right now. But I can also direct that into the FT100 and I can chill that thing down to about 50 degrees and it will end up making it to where it runs, it'll run without any wear and tear on the finals. And that's the big thing you got to worry about. So that's how I got all that set up. The radio tree, how I built that, I took a piece of flat stock that had holes all the way down the middle of it, like a piece of metal stock. You know how you can buy those 4-foot long pieces of just a flat piece of metal with holes all the way down it? You get them at Home Depot. I bought one of those and I folded it into a U and I mounted it on my table. And then I just bent it so that each radio fits in it just right. And there, I have an entire radio tree. It fits all in here nice and tight. And it gives me spots on both sides to hang all my microphones. And I've got my whole, radio set up on one tree there. And then, of course, the big computers in the back there, you can see that. That's pretty much it. On the other side now, what I'm building over here is I got 4 more of those brackets that I used for these screens. These screens are now on brackets. They move around. They're really clean. I really like that. And I was so happy with it that I bought the lumber I need to go ahead and build a bracket down this side. And I'm going to have 4 more down this side that are all mounted on those same brackets again. Also, I know you can't really see it, but back over here, you can see one that this one back here. Look at this. See this one here? Look at this. It's actually, I got this at a secondhand store for $3. It's a clip-on monitor holder, and it's just clipped on the shelf back there. And it gives me a perfect bracket for my last monitor because the shelf wasn't quite long enough on this side. So it worked out perfect. I got the 4 screens I need on this side, and then I'll have the 4 screens I need over here. On all these screens are already taken. That's screen 7, computer 1, and then these 3 are on computer number 5, which is the FT8 computer. The one up there you see is actually on computer 3, which is a Linux computer, and all it does is monitor the bands. It gives me band information off the PSK reporter. That's all it does, but I can make it do whatever else I need it to do. Over here on this side, and I'll put it back here so you can see it. Over here on this side, these are my security cameras. That's going to stay there, except once I get all those computers are going to be moved down and down so that I can move these screens way back. Notice I've got all this desk space. I want desk space. Before, everything was right to the edge of the desk, and I hate that. Now I got drawers. All my keyboards are in drawers. And I'm going to have another drawer over here for this keyboard. And that keyboard is going to be for those 3 machines. That keyboard is for those 3 machines. And then this keyboard's for the main machine. It's all right there. It's very, very handy. And then I'm going to have my camera system on this big screen over here on the left. And then to the left of that is actually Air TV with a $45 antenna that I bought. I'm able to get about 70 channels on it. I'm getting some Sarasota channels if I point it that way, and I can even get a few Miami channels if I shoot it over the Everglades. I'm very surprised at what you can get on air. Let's see here. I was going to show you guys. This is my these are my gauges for the computer here that Joseph put in for me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and you can see I'm running at 125. I got cold air blowing in there.
Dashboard of a race car.
Well, it kind of is. There's just no wheels. But
There's circles.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. It's running really cool. I mean, I went up and looked at like what they're supposed to run at, and 125 Fahrenheit is actually really good. I mean, it's pretty cool. Before I hooked the air up earlier today, when I was really using it a little bit, it got up to about 142. But then since I've hooked that air up now, it won't go above 125. That's about what it's at. So I assume that's That's what that is. I have buttons this time. Anyway, the camera in the back, I want to tell you guys, I went ahead and just bought a $30 web camera, a cheap web camera, and I bought a 25-foot cable, and I literally ran it all the way around. So that's a hardwired camera. You can see the little light right above my head right there. That's the camera. That's this camera down here. And I hardwired it now. Anyway, I wanted to tell you guys about some things I bought for the shack. Rick, I need you to help me. I'm bringing that thing back over to solder again, that repeater. Okay. And when I do, I'm going to ask you to do a couple of antenna ends for me. Coax. But I bought a whole bunch of them. So if you need some, I'll give you some.
What kind of connector?
It's the UHF, the PL 239, 259, that one, yes.
Is it a crimp on?
Yeah, but you still got to solder the top.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And, I have the technology to deal with that.
Yeah, I know. There's like, I don't have the tool that cuts it right, so I have to do all the cutting with a knife, and it gets all nasty. And then
we don't do any of that.
Yeah, and then soldering.
The tool strips everything off just right, and then I got the crimping and it's done. I do better with heavy equipment than I do a soldering iron.
My hands shake too bad, and anyway. But anyway, I got those. I want to do that, and then I got, this is something else I want to show you guys. I'm having issues with nothing's long enough. All my wires are too short. So I went and I bought a whole pack of these USB extension cables.
I've had that problem my whole life.
I know. Well, sometimes it's just not long enough to get where you need to go.
Can't buy an extension cable either.
And no matter how long you pull it, it doesn't get any longer. So what I did,
some people would argue with you on that one.
So where did you find?
Well, some people use equipment, they buy it. Never mind. So
we go too far.
Yeah, these are what's too far? I go, you know what? Let me tell you something. I'm nastier, dirtier, and say worse things on my radio show that goes out to 80 or 90,000 people a night than I am on this TechNet. I try to keep it clean for everybody because I don't know who's in here. And
I heard that stuff on there this afternoon.
I say some nasty stuff on there. We were talking about shit on the radio today. We talked for 5 minutes about why we can't say shit. We talked about the origin, and we just called it ship. And we'd say, now, when we say ship, we mean SHIT.
There you go. Now you see that.
Now here's the origin of ship. And we were doing it like that. It was hilarious. It was a funny segment. And some guy called in, shit's when the ships were full and the smell came out. And I'm like, okay, I never heard of that. Whatever. Okay. Okay, whatever. But no, we actually looked up, and there's a Wikipedia entry for shit. And it says the #1 use of the vernacular is for feces, but the #2 use of the vernacular is to identify one's belongings. Hey, that's my shit over there. Yeah. So there you go. That's my contribution. So, and we had that discussion today. I did buy me another coax. I haven't even opened it up yet. I get these. These are like $35. It's another. You guys ready? This is gonna surprise you.
Oh boy.
There's a big surprise on the front.
Made in China.
Oh
Man.
I support child labor.
Oh wow, you're terrible.
Distributed in the United States.
Hey, okay. If you guys don't have a Bofang somewhere at your house, stand up now. I've been buying these, and they've been really good. It's a cheap. It's just a 100-foot coax. It's got the, the regular dealie on it here. And
8X.
Yeah, it's 8X.
That's fine for the HF.
100-foot RG8X.
Yeah.
And it works good. It's 100-foot. You do get some loss on the UHF. Truthfully, though, all my UHF stuff's pretty close, so I'm not even worried about it. I did run this stuff 100 feet before to some UHF Yeagis, and it did not perform that well.
Yeah.
So, but if you run it to VHF Yeagis, it seems to do fine, and it works great on HF.
Yeah, it works very well.
So that's I bought that because I want to get my hex back up tomorrow. I've got it up in the yard still, and I backed over the cable and I ripped it out. Well, you know, that happens, dude. That's why I got to get Rick to solder it back for me. But anyway,
you didn't. How'd you?
It's in my yard on a tripod, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, my back is really bad.
Good luck getting in here. I guess it's not too bad as long as we've got this construction project. This pipeline's going through here.
Well, I can just come around back and hand it through the window.
There you go. You may have to do. I have to open a Chick-fil-A window out on McGregor or something. You know, you go up to the speaker and say what you want, and then you pull into the next window and hand me the thing, and
yep. Yep. Well, I'll tell you.
Y'all excited.
Well, I'm gonna tell you guys the biggest thing I've learned in doing my own ham shack here. Literally the one thing that I have to tell you that's been most important for me is got to be getting the monitors mounted properly so that they're not all over the place. I was having a problem with monitors just literally everywhere, you know, and they were all stacked up on each other and everything else. And it was a real problem. And so I even have this in the newsletter this week. If you look in there, there's a link that'll take you right to it. But I found these brackets. They're cheap. They're $17. And they work on whatever kind of surface you have. Now, all I did was I run a 2x6, mounted it real good, put these across the front of it, mounted my screens. I measured them over so that the screens would be half an inch apart. That way they can move freely past each other. Over here, I can move one monitor in and pull one monitor out and get right behind there and do whatever I got to do. I mean, it's really, they only have about maybe, it's probably not, it's about 3 inches, I guess, between where you're mounting them to and where the monitor back of the monitor is. So you add another 3/4 of an inch for the monitor, you know, you're still not out more than 4 inches no matter what. And if you think about it, you can go right above all your radios and everything on the wall behind your radios and mount a 2x6 on your wall. Just mount it up there, hit the stud 3 times, you're done. And then just put 4 or 5 of those up there and you can angle them all right towards you where they're all facing you. And it will look very professional and very neat and nice and tidy. So that's the big thing with me is I want it to look neat and tidy. And there's no way to do that with monitor stands. The only 3 monitors that are on stands right now that are going to remain on stands are probably these lower 3. And I'm not convinced yet that I'm not going to eventually put them on little brackets that hang down from the shelf, just because I don't, you know, I will tell you, I don't know if you guys can see it. You see that right there? That's my 9800. I've got it stuck there right now with Velcro, but I'm thinking about mounting it there.
I'm seeing the TV, the mount thing, so I can't see your 9800.
Okay, the 9800 is let me just zoom in on that. It's right here.
But we still got the
oh, is it still? I'm on share. Damn it! Sorry.
Yeah, you're still on share.
Okay, it's right here. See, it's mounted up underneath my monitor.
Yeah.
And I've got it mounted there pretty nice. I like that. I got the mic right here on the monitor, and so I like that. That's perfect. And then all my other radios are on the tree over here, and on my HF radios and stuff are over there. So I think it works out pretty good. So I'm going to leave this here. My other 9800 came in yesterday. I blew a program in it, and it's in my van right now.
Oh, cool. How's it doing?
It does fine. I listened to the guys talking this morning down on the Estero repeater down there at FUG-U.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's called? The university down there?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Bug you. But yeah, anyway, yeah, the tower that's down there.
14682.
Yeah, I was picking that tower up like 90% quieting this morning when those guys were talking. So it's pretty good. The antenna I got's only like a quarter wave. It's just it's a nice one. It's like I spent like $45 on it, I think. But anyway, so that's the way to go. I wanted to get something simpler for an antenna. That other one was just a big mess, and I just wanted to get something that was just a little simpler.
You know, one thing I'm concerned about, you got this thing that looks like a command center. I hope you don't start launching rockets out of it.
Well, I would need the rocket part. I don't have that part yet, but I'm working on finding it. I have a guy, I put the word out. I put the word out about a month ago. I need monitors. I need old TVs. I need whatever I can find. I told both the universe and my friends that I needed this and to please help me out. Well, the universe came through and so did my friends. I went with my mom over to Habitat for Humanity in North Fort Myers. You guys know where that's at? Little thrift. It's a big thrift store there across from the old Willis Road fire station right off of Old 41. We walked in there and they've got 20 TVs back there. They're all $10-15 a piece. And
nice.
I walked out with 3 of them. I got this one here for $12. It was $22 or $24, and it was on half price because it had been there a little while. It's a 30-inch TV, and although it's got about a 2-inch back on it, it's still a great TV. This one has a little bit of a back on it too. You know, they're not the super slim ones like we get today. This one back here, it does TV, it does HDMI, it does computer. They all do all the different inputs. This one back here works great too. So I got those 2. I got another one back here that I've hooked up and tested, but I haven't needed it yet. It's going to probably end up going up there. But yeah, I mean, I've been finding what I need.
These are flat screens and not CRTs.
Well, I've got an old picture I got to find for you guys. I actually built one of these a long time ago, and it was all CRTs. And I had 12 CRTs. And the reason I had to stop and literally like not do it anymore was because I was creating more heat than the entire air conditioner in the house could handle. My walls in my room were getting warm. I mean,
you were causing global warming.
Yeah. I was burning more carbon credits than Al Gore's private jet. Because the warming's causing the cooling. But anyway, I mean, I was burning that shit up. And then I decided, no, I got to stop doing this. So we ended up setting up all my stuff over in a guy's garage where we had a studio set up. My studio setup, I'll tell you guys, my studio setup, stick a look at my bald head. My studio setup for my paranormal research show, you guys would have loved it. Okay. It was set up like a regular television studio. On the right, I had like 2 desks where my co-host and I sat, and we had like monitors wrapped all the way around both of us. And it was like a command center, like for 2. And then on the other corner of the room, and this was like a big 3-car garage. It was huge. On the other corner, and we went and bought 2 bolts of black material. Some of it's still behind me right now. Gaffing material. I still have about a half a bolt of that left. And we had black curtains all the way around the entire garage. And we had these 2 air conditioners that rolled in that had the tubing. That we had the big things that put the tubing outside. Anyway, it was a whole process. Okay. And on the one corner over here, we had a bingo table that had a black cover on it. And on there, we had 3 computers set up, 3 laptops, and we had 3 chat people that were doing chats and passing chats to us during the show. And then in the 4th side, we had 4 high bar stools where we did interviews. And we actually would go over and sit and do interviews with people. And the whole thing was filmed with an internet camera that sat on a short tripod that was on a box that we put on wheels. It was a wooden box, and we put it on wheels, and we actually had handles on it. And Bob Kelly, who became my host, he's dead now, God rest his soul. He actually was the camera guy for the first year in the studio. And he actually worked the camera. And when there would be a chat, he would back up and go over to the chat room so I could walk over and talk to them. What are the chat people saying? You know, it was a really cool show. I'd love to do something like that again, but it takes about 10 people to do something like that. It's not something, and it was very hard to keep enough dedicated people to do something like that because it's on the free, you know? Yeah. I mean, you guys help me out do this show every night, but it's a little different. It'd be different if we had to go to Rick's house and meet in his garage and set up for 5 hours before the show.
You would be cooked out there.
Well, part of setting up was the 2 air conditioners we had to set up too. Trust me, it had to be cool or you wouldn't be able to do it. I mean,
the wheel on the electric meter would be flying away like a UFO spinning so hard.
And at the time, I thought I was slick with fluorescent lighting. I went all CFL lighting in there, and it was actually nice. The temperatures were all good. I used a lot of colored lighting, as you guys can imagine, on the walls and stuff. And finally, we did it over at a buddy's house that had a big room he wasn't using, and we had a studio kind of permanently set up there for about a year, my last year. And we would sit facing the audience, and then behind us, we had 3 chatters, and then we also had a producer over here. It was really cool. It was a very neat thing that we did. And it also gave a lot of people a chance to do a little bit of TV without actually working in TV. So it was cool. Amateur TV. Definitely fun. It was a fun time in my life. And if you go to YouTube and you look up Hurricane Ian and Florida Paranormal Research, you can still find a number of my openers and some of my video clips and all. And it's kind of funny. I think I've showed you guys some of that stuff before, but anyway, yeah, it's fun stuff. This is not my first internet show. This is actually my second internet show that I've done. So, all right. So anyway, there's enough about me. All right. As far as the shack goes, I'm just going to let you guys know. I already kind of told you, but for those of you that have joined late, hey, Dallas is in. What's up, buddy? Everything from this point. Everything from this point all the way around where, if you could see where I'm doing that in the lower left, all the way around, this whole side is coming out tomorrow morning. The whole thing's coming out tomorrow morning. I'm going to pull it all out and sit it on the floor. And I take how I do this. And you guys should know this. When I first set this shed up, I had the mock version of this set up in my master bedroom, which my wife was more than thrilled to have out of there.
Your wife is a patient soul.
She's a very patient and loving soul, thank God.
With boys that come running around and show their berries and everything. But,
yeah, well, she's not happy on the midnight twig and berries. But anyway, we'll leave that for another time. But unless it's my twig and berries, of course, you know. But anyway, yeah, so I moved it out here, and what I do anytime I reset an area or my whole shack, I take a board somewhere and I'll stick a big old long 2x4, like sticking straight out, and I'll start laying every wire over that. I'll loop every wire over that piece of wood. It'll be like 7 feet off the ground or whatever, and it'll be tall enough, and I'll loop every single wire gets looped over that. And I'll start out with VGA, and HDMI and DisplayPort, and I'll work my way into Power 1, Power 2, Power 3 for the 3 types of power cords that I have. And then I'll work my way down to audio cords, video, different kinds of cords. And the reason I do that is because if I'm going to rip it all out, I really want to start all over. I like to clean it all the way down to the desk, clean the desk, wipe and spray and clean, and then start putting it back and getting all the hardware arranged just like I want it. Then I start pulling the wires off of that wire rack in the order that I want to put them back on. And that's how I do it. That's how I have to do it. I cannot just go a little bit at a time. When I did this side a while back, I did the same thing. I ripped it all completely out and put it all back. So, and that's what I'm going to do. And that's pretty much the story of the shack.